Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Self-Defense Saturdays. I'm Tyler.
I'm Chris.
Chris is going to give us a story coming out of Pennsylvania today. Let's see what you got.
All right, so this story is a little bit like the last one we just did, where somebody's posing as somebody they're not supposed to be and trying to invading a home. Kind of heavy again on this one. So the incident unfolded around 10 p.m. Sunday evening, where a 25-year-old Philadelphia resident returned to his home. As he was walking towards the front door, authorities say he was approached by two individuals and things quickly turned sideways. Police say that at least one male was armed with a gun and had a police badge around his neck, which turned out to be fake. He identified himself as a police officer. The two males forced the resident into his property and demanded money. They tied his hands with zip ties around his back and then threatened to kill him if he made any sudden moves. That's when our victim realized that the individuals were not police officers. According to police, the 25-year-old victim was able to free his hands and grab the gun from his pocket. After gaining access to his gun, the intended victim was able to fire multiple rounds, sending one of the suspects scrambling out the front door. His armed cohort, on the other hand, was shot 3 times. The suspect, who is yet to be named, was taken to the Philadelphia hospital, where he was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Wow. So there's a couple things in there. So if you're ever in a situation like I tell Hunter, I tell anybody, like especially if you're getting pulled over at nighttime or something like that, I've done it myself. Like there's nothing wrong with putting your hazards on or something like that and waiting until you can get to a more well-lit area to pull over into, especially if you're on a dark, desolate road or out in a rural area or something like that. And 9 times out of 10, the police officer is going to understand what you're doing. In a situation like this where you're approached by a physical person, if that person's claiming to be a police officer or something like that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking for some sort of identification or something. Because being a concealed carry holder, 9 times out of 10, if you ever go to a flea market, you'll find a fake badge that says concealed carry holder, and it is the toolest thing to carry in my opinion.
So this whole situation is a very difficult one to put into words and to kind of be a part of. I have been trying to figure out some kind of piece of advice, something that I can say to give some helpful tips on how to try to keep yourself out of that kind of situation, or to be able to discern between a police officer and somebody who's trying to be a fake police officer. And it is so difficult to be able to come up with any kind of advice or tips. I've never been in that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
The only situations that I've ever known of are people that get pulled over where the car is almost blatantly not a police officer. I've never seen or heard of anybody that has been approached by somebody who does something like this. Now there are some kind of discerning factors. If they don't look very well presented, they don't look dressed to the part, maybe they're kind of rough and scraggly or something like that, you can start to question it.
Kind of going off of your point earlier, I think that if it was a street-clothed police officer or an undercover or something like that, I believe that they would probably approach the situation differently too. Because of that, kind of informal attire, stuff like that. And if you approach somebody at nighttime, especially being 2 of y'all, that's kind of universal for this could be a sketchy situation. So if the police officer is worth any salt at all, he will do something to either put you, at ease or something like that, especially if you express it to him. This is kind of a slippery slope because I don't know really what I would do, especially, I don't think Florida, you have to, I know like some states when you get pulled over, if you have a concealed carry, you're supposed to announce that to the officer. So I don't know if that works the same way if you're traveling by foot, but in this situation where you don't really know if these 2 guys are officers, do you announce that you have a firearm to?
So I know, like you said, in Florida we don't have to. In other states, I'm not 100% positive on those laws, but while you're walking on foot, unless there is a situation where you're in contact with them and you feel you should let them know. I don't think that there's any laws that force a civilian walking down the streets who get in contact with police officers to disclose that they're carrying a firearm, unless you're being detained, they ask, or
well, hopefully
they're about to frisk you or pat you down, whatever you want to call it. Then when they're saying, hey, we're gonna pat you down, and say, okay, hey, I've got a firearm. In that kind of situation, I know you have to, but I don't think if they're just talking with you
But that's scary because these two gentlemen, or not gentlemen, these two criminals could play that part all the way up to that part, all the way up to that point, like, hey, we're fixing to frisk you or something, and then you're telling two criminals, hey, I have a pistol. And then now you're telling a bad guy that you have a gun. He still has that era of control over you where he's fixing to frisk you, and then now the bad guy has your pistol. I really hope that there's no legislation like that, honestly, because like I just got anxiety thinking about that as it came to me. But that is a sketchy situation. Like, what do you do? Yeah,
so this story is a lot more than what I read. At least this article has a lot more in here than what I read. And one point that is mentioned in the opinions and comments below it is that one of the fatal flaws that these two criminals had was they didn't pat him down. They didn't ask him anything, questions like that. And that was also a part where the victim realized, hey, these guys are not being very professional. Mm-hmm. There's something weird going on here, and that was their fatal flaw, was not checking to see if this guy has any kind of weapons, which led to him being able to realize what's going on and use his concealed carry weapon in his defense and take one of them down.
Absolutely. And another thing too, guys, there is a such thing as rogue police officers. There is people who are literally police officers who get out of line and can use their power over you. You know, like I've heard this for forever. A rogue police officer leaving a bar one night thinking that he's still a cop, drunk. You know, I can only imagine how this situation has probably morphed into many other like situations beyond this one. I don't know. This one's kind of got me going because there's a lot to it. Yeah. There's no clean cut answer of, not that I know of, what to do or what should have been done, or I don't even know. Yeah, so as you guys can see, we're kind of stumped on this. That's another reason why we wanted to talk to you about it. And get down in the comments below and let us know what you guys would give for advice, what you think you would do, or what you think other people could use tips and tools to try to discern between a real police officer who may be undercover or just dressed down or whatever their demeanor is versus somebody who's impersonating a police officer. Obviously, a bad uniform is a dead giveaway, you know, versus a legitimate uniform, but there are police officers out there who just carry a badge around their neck and, you know, maybe formal or semi-formal attire or something like that. So definitely, if you guys have any thoughts or opinion on that, please let us know down below. Let us know, guys. We are in Florida. We're here in Tampa. Let us know what it's like in your state. If there's any laws on the books in your state that are, you know, directly correlated to this. Like I said, I know we don't have to announce that we have a firearm when we get pulled over and stuff like that. I don't know for sure about the whole traveling by foot thing. I'm kind of curious now. I'm probably going to do some homework after this right here because this has definitely got me. I don't know. It's not an easy thing to just figure something out on. Yeah. There's definitely a lot to it for sure. So as I always try to do, guys, you know, I like to talk over with Tyler about what he did right and wrong when it comes to using his Second Amendment and the right to self-defense. And honestly, I feel like this is another cut and dry one. You know, he was approached and attacked, demanded money by, told that he was going to be killed if he moved by two fake police officers. He used his concealed carry weapon inside of his own home after it was broken into to put down a armed assailant and criminal. Obviously, one of them got away, and actually there is a comment in the section below on this article about how he did not fire after the unarmed suspect. He could tell that he wasn't armed, and he did not fire after him. He let him flee, which is a big thing, guys. If somebody is trying to flee from you, you cannot shoot them in the back. That will end up stabbing you in the back, and you will get in a lot of trouble for that. If they try to flee from you, try to flee from your home, let them go. Give a good description to the police officers, and hopefully they will catch them. Beyond any type of law repercussions or stuff like that, it's just not a moral thing either. Don't shoot somebody in the back. Yeah, to a point. To a point. I mean, if somebody was attacking you within your own home and they're running away from me, I would like to. Yeah, if you're running towards my kid's room or somebody else's room, it's gotta come down. Yeah, if they're running inside of your home, not to the exit, like if they're trying to get to a different room to maybe get a tactical advantage on you, it's fair game. But if they're trying to exit your home or your property or whatever, if they're trying to run away from your car, that's when, you know, you end up breaking the law. Absolutely. So that's something to keep in mind. Guys, thanks again for joining us for this episode of Self-Defense Saturdays. Let us know down in the comments your opinions on the story. Let us know about where you're at, how stuff works in your state. We're trying to keep a lot of our stories come from different states, and it's kind of crazy, with their laws and what they allow and what these people get away with compared to ours. Let us know down in the comments what y'all got going on.
Yep, and like I say every time, there will be a link in the description for the website where we get all of these stories, Firearms Owners Against Crime. It is a great website to not only see these stories, because there is a ton of them that we can't always get to, but there's a whole bunch of other information. You can look up your local laws, your state elections, stuff like that on this website. I really think it would be beneficial for you guys to check this website out.
Awesome. Guys, go ahead and check out our Facebook, our Instagram. There'll also be a link in the description to our link tree that'll send you to all of our other platforms, all of our social media.
And always remember, guys, who's got your six?